What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we are doing the playthrough of the brand new Neo Islands that have arrived on Global, being Neo Ivankov and Neo Ambush Whitebeard. Now, we're going to be talking about them like briefly when we get into the breakdown of all the dungeons and stuff. But before we get into that, I want to actually talk about the units themselves. So here we have Ivankov. So Ivankov this time around is a Dex unit. Now, if you guys remember the original raid boss Ivankov, he's terrible. Like, he's probably the worst raid boss in the game because there is literally no dungeons where you need to use the character at all, or there is no piece of content that literally needed a unit that did what he did. Like, the original raid boss Ivankov was terrible. However, this time around they have changed a few things about him that actually makes him sort of good. So first of all, this character has 4 socket spots. This character is a Dex fighter free spirit. The Captain effect, if we actually click on the right button, Captain effect will go ahead and boost the character's attack by 3.25 when characters attack in good or better in the order of strength, quick, and then dex without breaking the chain. Pretty much like a weak version of Shiki or a weak version of like Colosseum Lucy. It's just a pretty bad captain effect overall because you need to run pure strength, dex, quick, and you have to hit in that certain order before you get any attack boost whatsoever. So Captain ability is pretty bad. Special ability, though, looks a lot better than the original version. So it starts off at 28 turns. I think it needs 14 or 15 skill ups. Changes character slots, so changes own orb, including block, into dex, which is great. Then changes remaining slots randomly to recovery, strength, dex, and quick. And then allows you to freely swap your orbs once. Makes the recovery orbs beneficial for 1 turn to all characters, and then gives you a 1.75 times free spirit type boost. And you can't forget the last line, woohoo. You can't forget the woohoo. Either way, this character is just kind of mediocre. You know, a 1.75 free spirit boost is fine. You can definitely use it, but the orb manipulation is so weird. It's so strange. What I would have preferred it is if, like, all of your orbs either become all recovery, all strength, all dex, or quick, and it randomly chooses one of them and you get a full board of that orb. I think that would be a lot more usable. And then also gives you the recovery beneficial. That would have been so much better for this character. However, that is not the case. But at least this character gets a matching orb when you use the special, so that's kind of nice. But the fact that it is a random orb shuffle means that you probably will have to bring some other character to make sure you are getting the correct orbs on your character if you are using this unit. So overall, I'm not really a big fan of this character. It doesn't have a limit break either, so it is what it is. Also, another character that we have to talk about is the Neo Clash Whitebeard, or the Neo Ambush Whitebeard, should I say. This one took us by storm. We had no idea they were ever going to do a Neo version of an ambush raid, and I mean, just from looking online, on Reddit, on Discord, and YouTube comments, a lot of people are very disappointed about this, like myself included. This character is extremely difficult to get, and also the fact that this unit is kind of crap. Like, this unit doesn't really do much compared to the original version of Ambush Whitebeard. Straight off the gate, he doesn't get any cooldown reduction with his special, so that's one of the main drawbacks of the unit, is he's still a 24 turn cooldown for the 40% health cut, which I mean, it is what it is. But in terms of his captain effect, he will also go ahead and boost cruise attack by 2.75 when your HP is below a certain amount, which I believe is below 50%, so not a great captain effect. The special ability, as we said, has no cooldown reduction compared to the original version, and it is multi-stage like before. It does the exact same thing, but they have added an additional effect to each of the stages of the specials, and it's the exact same effect for each stage of the special, where it says that it will go ahead and reduce enemy damage done to you by 70% that exceeds 10,000. So in a hypothetical situation, if the enemy does 20,000 damage to you while you have this special active, that means that you'll take 10,000 damage, and then the leftover damage past the 10,000 is reduced by 70%. There are so many other units in the game that can do this already that reduce more damage than what this Whitebeard can do. So in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of this character, but I mean, the special does work relatively well with how the Whitebeard's captain effect is supposed to work, but no one's using this character as a captain. Like, this character, just compared to his original version, is just meh. He's just so meh, and his dungeon is so much more difficult than the original Ambush Whitebeard. The crewmate ability, though, because this guy actually gets a limit break, he gets the ability to make Dex Orbs beneficial to Powerhouse characters if your captain is Powerhouse. Now, that's cool and all, but there are so many other characters in the game that already give you Dex Orb beneficial enable as a sailor, like Legend Crocodile, Legend Nami, Treasure Map Sabo, like frigging Rare Recruit Dex Conjurer. There's so many characters that make Dex beneficial, and this is yet another character that does that. But on the bright side, he does get two pretty good abilities with his limit break. He gets Enrage, and he also gets Recovery Bind. So overall, I'm not really that impressed by the character, and I said before, this dungeon is extremely difficult. I have a team that I will be showing you guys in this video, but I cannot take credit for it. Shout out to Godot from the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit on Discord. He was actually the first person to beat it with the version 3 Quick Whitebeard, so you guys will be seeing that clip in this video today, and also links to his channel will be down below in the description. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of Neo Ivankov. So now we finally can get into the dungeons themselves. So there are 3 separate dungeons that you can take on to farm Neo Clash Ivankov. And the great thing about this particular Neo dungeon is that you don't need to run like 15 runs of each 3 of the class dungeons, not like the old versions of the Neo dungeons. You can farm any single one of these that you want, and you farm any one of them 15 times, and you can go ahead and get all the rewards from them, which makes farming this a lot easier because, you know, if you have a really good shooter, a really good fighter, or a really good powerhouse team, either one of those you can farm and you can pick up the copies of Ivankov. And I would recommend farming Ivankov to max out the Ivankov because a character might be useful in the upcoming treasure map. On the other hand, Whitebeard, probably not so much. I would still say if you can beat it, you know, at least get a copy of him because you just never know. But I cannot see Whitebeard being like that useful in the upcoming treasure map. So it is what it is. I just don't think that Whitebeard is a very good character overall. And for the amount of effort you have to put in to get him, I just don't think it's really that worth it. So discussing the dungeon itself. So we have the fighter team right here, which is a Gear 4 team that I've built. And it was able to beat it relatively well. And the good thing about this dungeon as well is the fact that each of the 3 variations, fighter, shooter, and powerhouse, they're all the exact same dungeon, just with different conditions in that you can only bring certain characters. So for stage 1 of the fight, as soon as you enter the fight, Bond Clay will give you a 99 turn beneficial orb enable. So every strength character on your crew will now treat recovery as beneficial. So that's quite nice, a little debuff or a little buff that he gives you along the way. And then on stage 4 is a mini boss, which is going to be Inazuma. Inazuma has 2 million health, and he attacks every 3 turns, or she attacks every 3 turns for about 10,000 damage. Also, something to note as well is that he has a preemptive, or she has a preemptive, that applies a 3-turn damage threshold and a 3-turn defense up. So what I would suggest here is to just stall out all of the debuffs and then kill Inazuma. However, every 2 turns that Inazuma is alive, she's going to apply a 5-turn bind to a random character on your crew. So that is going to be quite annoying because you'll see, I don't know if I'll show it in one of these clips here, but there's been many times that I've been farming this where I have to use a certain special in order to kill Inazuma, and then that unit keeps either locking my captain or keeps locking the unit that I need to use the special of. It can be very, very annoying, but you get many turns in order to actually activate your specials, and it is kind of forgiving, and the fact that, you know, Inazuma only attacks every 3 turns is actually quite nice. You can see the Akanu gets locked here as my captain, which is not ideal, so you know, I just have to basically stall to make sure that my captain is not binded here. Also, if Inazuma falls below 20% health, she's going to apply a 10-turn ship bind to your team. Ship binding is not something that we see in the game that often, but this is definitely a dungeon where it will be applied, so do not get Inazuma below 20%, especially right before the final boss. And now we can talk about the final boss stage, which is going to be Ivankov. Now, Ivankov has 5 million health, and I'm not really too sure what Ivankov's attack power is, because all the time I've been able to just kill him before he attacks. But Ivankov does a preemptive damage of about 5,000 to 6,000 damage. I'm not really too sure if it's a health cut or if it's a damaging special. I'm pretty sure it is like some sort of damage special between 5,000 to 6,000, I would assume. And also, Ivankov will apply a orb shuffle to your team where your orbs will get randomly shuffled to a type orb or an empty orb. Now, empty orbs are going to be quite key for my powerhouse team that I am using. And also, there is a preemptive strike where you'll get 4 turns of bind and 4 turns of despair. So 100% having sockets and a character that can remove bind and despair is going to make your time a lot easier in this fight. After the first turn, Ivankov will apply a 3-turn enemy attack up and a 3-turn damage reduction shield to himself. And then after the end of the second turn, if Ivankov is still alive, he actually becomes a side character for some reason, which is very, very weird. And with this fight, it makes it so annoying because you cannot use any orb boost and you cannot use an HP cut. Otherwise, there are the special interrupts that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, where if you use an orb boost, you get a slot bind for 99 turns. And if you use a health cut, he's going to fully recover the health cut and also give himself a 5-turn defense up. Oh, this boss fight is just so annoying. And then on the fact when he is killed, he will revive with 300,000 health and also apply 2 turns of attack down. And he has a 2-tap Great Barrier as well. So many things you have to take into consideration against this boss fight against this Neo Clash Ivankov. However, this is the team right here that I said shout out to Godot from the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit, who actually come up with this team and was able to not only beat Ivankov with this team, but this team also beats the Neo Ambush Whitebeard. So we'll be getting straight into that once we take down Ivankov. With this team in particular, though, you have to be quite careful because you need to make sure that you can reset your game after you see your orb shuffle, because you need to make sure that your ace or your big mom get a matching orb. Otherwise, this team just won't be able to do enough damage on turn 1. So as long as you get an empty orb on your ace or your big mom, you're pretty much going to be okay with this team being able to beat it, because ace will change the empty orb into a matching orb. And then you've got obviously Whitebeard to remove the despair once you are below a certain threshold as well. And the great thing about Whitebeard is the fact that he will do 400,000 fixed damage that goes through barriers. So with Whitebeard special alone, it will solo clear the Ivankov after the revive, which is ridiculously useful. And also furthermore, the fact that Whitebeard not only provides a type boost and a chain boost, which gives you stupid amounts of damage, he also provides damage reduction, which is going to be ridiculously important for the Neo Ambush Whitebeard fight, because you have a mini boss Whitebeard on stage 4 and the final boss Whitebeard on stage 5, obviously. And both Whitebeards, whenever they are killed, they do like massive death damage to your team. So the fact that, you know, you can have a team like this that has access to your captains that provide so much more damage and also provide a really good damage reduction effect makes the fight much easier when you have a team like Quick Whitebeard. So not only are the bosses annoying on Neo Ambush Whitebeard, but it's also the fact that on stage 2 you're going to have to deal with a very annoying stage, and this will really put you to the test to see how good your tap timing is, because there will be a cannon fodder unit on stage 2. He doesn't have that much health, which is, you know, it's a godsend that he doesn't have a lot of health, but he attacks very, very hard. He attacks every 3 turns, but he'll do one of 2 preemptive actions, where he'll either have a Great Barrier, where you have to hit 5 greats before you break it, or he'll have a 5-hit perfect barrier, either a great or a perfect barrier. However, he will give you a debuff or a buff, which will make your perfects easier or difficult to hit depending on his barrier that he applies to himself, which makes it so annoying, because when you have to hit your greats, he's going to make your perfects easier, and then when you have to hit your perfects, he's going to make your perfects more harder to hit. But definitely this example that you're seeing in the video right now, where he has the Great Barrier, it is the most frustrating thing ever. Having to try and hit your greats in order to break it is ridiculous. If it was only a 3-hit Great Barrier, it would be so much more easier. Or, you know, an alternative option is to bring characters that have barrier penetration. Obviously, the new Capone batch is the target team that you guys should be aiming for to beat this much easier. And obviously, if you have barrier penetration, this stage is just a cakewalk. You don't have to worry about it at all. But if you do not have barrier penetration units, then yeah, this fight is going to be extremely difficult. So once you take down the guy with the barrier here on stage 2, you'll have to deal with stage 3, which has a whole bunch of enemies that have low health and high defense. but the defense isn't as high as previous fights that you would expect. Like you can definitely like kill them just with regular attacks as long as you have like either a matching orb or a high combo chain at that time. You are able to take them down with regular attacks, but there is a preemptive action that actually will vary. I've seen a couple people say that they've had one thing happen to them, and then people have said that something else has happened to them. So the two examples that I've seen is where you'll either receive 4,000 fixed damage like I do in this clip, but I have also received poison from this stage as well, and it's a one-turn poison that applies a bit of damage to your team at the end of the turn. So you can see here we are able to kill these mobs with regular attacks, but if they do survive, they apply a 5-turn bind to your team, and that can happen to any unit. It can happen to your captains, your subs, or whatever, and each of them do it. So if you leave 2 alive, 2 units will be binded for 5 turns, or if they bind the same unit, you know, it'll be a 10-turn bind, which is quite unfortunate if that happens. Stage 4 is the mini-boss Whitebeard. He has 4.2 million health, and he attacks for approximately 13,000 damage. His preemptive attack will give himself a 1-turn resilience, and he also becomes a strength unit for some reason. And at the end of the first turn, he actually doesn't attack at all on turn 1, which is nice. However, he will make all of your orbs into badly matching, and your bottom row is completely blown away. So in this example here, V1 Fujitora and Big Mom both have sailor abilities that prevent them from being blown away, so that's why this team is built the way that it is. And if you use any HP recovery special ability on this stage, you get your health cut significantly. People have said it's about 70%, and 20 turns of recovery bind will be inflicted to your team. And then, as I said before, when you kill this Whitebeard, you will deal, like, he'll deal 200,000 damage death hit. So having a very powerful damage reducer is a requirement here, 100%. And now the final boss, Whitebeard, man, this character has 15 million health. He has full delay immunity. He has poison immunity. He gives you 6 turns of paralysis. He applies a despair to your team for 4 turns. And at the end of the first turn, he will not only just attack you, but he also does additional damage on top of it, which means zombie teams are basically unable to beat this, unless if they have very specific characters, like Legend Robin or something. And also, at the end of turn 2, he blows away your middle row. At the end of the third turn, he blows away your captains. If you damage him through his barrier, he actually becomes a strength unit, which is why this team is able to beat it so well, is because they basically abuse the typing that he becomes. And once again, at 0 health, he does 140,000 damage to your team. So once again, you need another damage reducing special. But that is the full breakdown of this particular video of Neo, Ivankov, and Neo Whitebeard. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you guys have, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.